Well, it's Monday again, time for another interesting story from the mind of a shaven head. I've been reading, watching someone's, well, actually this would be reading their blog, and they've been talking about the internet, the reality, is too much time spent on the internet with internet friends versus taking care of real life things, and stepping away from the internet and stepping away from their PC and those types of issues, which I think a lot of us have a lot of time. A lot of times when we think about how much time am I really spending on this, and is it of value? What am I getting out of it? And is it taking away from some other aspect of my life? So I just wanted to share my take on that. And well, the bottom line, of course, is it's all individual. It's how much someone spends on the internet and what they're actually doing. It's a great source of information. It's a source of contact, of talking with people, about things. But yeah, you're not right up there in their face. You're not over at their house, having cookies and milk. But it's still a contact. But here's what it made me think of. It made me think of when I was just a wee lad. My life was very much like Leave It to Beaver, and please, some of you say, you know what I mean when I say Leave It to Beaver. And an unfortunate part, of course, being that I was the little beaver. I was not the big brother Wally, but I can certainly relate to Beaver. And I can clearly, it's just like being there now. The phone is ringing in the kitchen, and my mother sweeps over to the phone in her very June Cleaver-like house dress and answers the phone. And I can see, the phone in this hand and the other hand reaching for the kitchen chair. And it's just kind of like a poetry in motion. As the chair comes over, she sits down, and she's there for an hour. At least an hour, because it's one of her girlfriends. So you got to understand, my mother did not work outside of the home. She worked hard in our home. But in the morning I had my breakfast prepared, off to school. If I came home for lunch, I had a lunch prepared, and when I came home from school, I'd have a snack prepared, and then we'd have a dinner where you actually sat down at a table and everybody sat down, and meat and potatoes type of dinner. My dad would come home at 6 o'clock, and we would eat, and then maybe we did have a TV. It was a black and white TV with 3 channels, except we were lucky. We were in an area where we had a public broadcasting station, so actually 4 channels. But anyway, back to the part about the internet. To me, that was her internet. It's exactly the same thing. That was her tool to talk with the outside world, because other than going to the grocery store on Saturday morning, she always went to get her hair done, once a week. That was a big thing. But other than that, and just errands, like taking me to the doctor or going to the doctor herself or stuff like that, she wasn't out of the house every day. There'd be many days when she would never leave the house. So she didn't have a lot of that, other than, if it was summertime, she'd be talking to the neighbor woman, across the fence or something. But there just wasn't a lot of running around and interaction with other people. So the phone was really kind of her internet, where someone would call, and it would typically be another woman pretty much in the same situation, a woman who stayed at home, and they had some time, and they would talk and talk and talk. So to me, that's just an internet chat room. It's a YouTube group. It's the exact same thing. So it just comes down to a matter of how much time you spend and the value of the time that is spent while you're on the internet. But I thought that's how that just reminded me of that story of Mom and the phone. And we lived in they call it story and a half. So you had the main floor, then an upstairs, and a finished basement. We were progressive. We had a finished basement. But we had one phone in the kitchen, and that went on for years. I don't know when we ever got an extension phone. It was a big deal. If somebody had an extension phone in their house, you know, they were pretty high class. So, what do you think? Is the internet something, a new creature that has been spawned upon us, or is it really just an extension of telephone and TV and radio kind of all popped into one?